DJ's True Crime 2026, turn the lights down low, let the darkness mix. Midnight whispers on an old back road. Every secret's got a story untold. Cold case files and a smoking gun. Truth runs deep where the shadows run. Footsteps echo in an empty hall. Somebody's watching from behind the wall. Red string tied to a photograph. Broken clocks in a shattered past. Every clue's just one more fix. Welcome to 2026. DJ's True Crime 2026. Twisted tales and dangerous tricks. Every lie's got a heavy price. Roll the tape, let's roll the dice. Heartbeat racing, ticking ticks. Truth cuts deep like sharpened sticks. If you're brave, come take your fix. DJ's True Crime 2026. Headlines screaming in black and white. City sirens in the dead of night. Coffee cold on a cluttered desk. One more name on the suspect list. Footprints fade in the falling rain. Every witness recalls the same. A fleeting face, a shadowed mix. Another mystery in 26. Maps on the wall with pins stuck in. Where do we start and where's it end? Truth don't sleep and neither do I. Chasing ghosts that never die. DJ's True Crime 2026. Secrets buried in the politics. Truth is sharper than it looks. Hidden deep between the books. Turn it up, let the story stick. Every twist hits hard and quick. Stay tuned for the final fix. DJ's True Crime 2026. In the midnight city where the neon lights glow. DJ's on the mic and the whole world knows. From the streets to the sky where the blue flames fly. We ride together strong, never asking why. Hear the beat of the drums like a dragon's roar. Every step we take makes the crowd want more. Through the fire in the night, we stand as one. When the music hits hard, that's when we run. We are DJ's Blue Dragon Squad. Rising through the night, breathing blue fire, burning bright in the light. Hear the crowd scream loud when the bass drops hard. Stand up, stand proud for the Blue Dragon Squad. And the sound where the legends grow. Every beat we drop makes the whole place glow. From the underground vibes to the main stage flame. Blue dragons flying high in the game. Hear the thunder roll when the speakers pound. Feel the energy shaking the ground. Every soul in the room feels the spark ignite. Blue dragons rising in the night. We are DJ's Blue Dragon Squad. Rising through the night, breathing blue fire, burning bright in the light. Hear the crowd scream loud when the bass drops hard. Stand up, stand proud for the Blue Dragon Squad. Dragon Squad. No fear, no change, just the rhythm we ride. Blue flames in our hearts, got the squad by our side. When the night falls down and the music's loud, you'll hear the roar of the dragon crowd. We are DJ's Blue Dragon Squad. Hear the legend call. Blue fire rising as the shadows fall. Hands in the air while the beat hits hard. Forever we ride. Blue Dragon Squad.
Sweet boy Sebastian, where are you? The stars stayed up all night waiting too. The next morning your mama came up. You weren't there, your room was empty. Sweet boy Sebastian, where'd you go? Room was still left the same as it was. The whole world has been searching, but there was no evidence of where you went. The wind whistles softly in the night and morning. It hums your name and hums the song of I am the tiger. It's so quiet without your laughter and smile. Life gets harder and harder every day. Sweet boy Sebastian, where have you gone? Everyone has searched through forests and water and near your house with no sighting or sin. If you're hiding, come out and come back. Sebastian, your dad is worried, and so is the whole wide world. Sebastian, where are you? Please show us signs wherever you may be. We are your army, sweet boy Sebastian, so please come home. So please.
Can everyone hear me? Put a thumbs up or a 5x5 in the chat if everyone can hear me. And we're going to wait for a couple more people to come in, and then we will get started. How is everyone's day going? Okay, sounds good. House of Queen, can you hear me? Jacob, can you hear me? Okay, we're going to get started. Share screen. So today's topic is let the crap, now I can't even remember my own. Oh, never mind. Let all the shifts begin, everybody. So I'm gonna put a video on, kind of a refresher, kind of looking. We're gonna watch a video on Lolly's channel, and I'll stop and do commentary throughout the video. So we're gonna get started. And if you guys can, please click the thumbs up. Whoever's in the bushes, like and subscribe if you haven't, and get my channel out there in the algorithm. Okay, how do I hide the top chat that is there? Oh, never mind. I know how. Found it. Um,
Start the week all over again. Yeah, it
Hi,
has been
Dan.
a good Sunday for me. I went to church, came back home
No,
after a
you
little
didn't.
while watching football games, and ended up taking a 2-hour nap. So, excuse my hair. I had it all up and cute and fixed, and yeah, my head started hurting, so I took it down. So that's what we got. Well, hello, Miss Janice
I'm trying to
in
find.
Blue Eyes. Hello,
I'm trying to find the perfect spot to where to begin.
hello. We got TJ. Hello, beautiful. Somehow my tablet got on and the
Yep.
search thing came on. I was like, what the heck? Anyways, oh no, you've been sick, Blue Eyes. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here with us. Yes, Ginger, I was going to show that. So, yes, happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian friends. Yes,
This
yes.
video was from a year ago.
Let me see here. Let's go here. So, Dog has made a post.
And you guys know about Dog the Bounty Hunter, right? Let me know in chat if you guys have heard about him. Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Let me see. Oh, my mouse doesn't want to work a lot of times. Dog Nation has increased the reward for the whereabouts and location of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers to 100.
So I can't remember what they had the donate I can't remember what they had the money set as before, but before they increased it, but here's what they increased it to. 125K. So, and that's what Dog the Bounty Hunter put up, I think, a year ago.
And $25,000. And I'm wondering, does that mean TBI's 50,000 puts it at a total of 175,000? Wow.
I would probably say the exact same thing. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Wow. Also, before we get started, let's look at this. Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father.
So for those of you that are listening in the bushes, and for those that are new to this case, Seth is Sebastian's biological dad, and he's been doing everything he can to search for his one and only son. So it says here, Betty targeted because she was working directly with, I don't know what it says right there. And that family in the hills keeps trying to shut Sebastian's voice down, i.e. anyone that is helping me trying to find Sebastian. And then the next one, if you all knew what I know, a lot of you wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Exactly. Which, lots of people need to understand what Seth is going through is very hard at the moment. Very hard. He doesn't know where his son is. He wants him found.
It says, let me see here, that he's been targeted because she is working directly with me, and that family in the hills keeps trying to shut Sebastian's voice down, i.e., anyone that is helping me try to find Sebastian. Be careful, people. If you all knew what I know, a lot of you wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Guys, I don't know about y'all, but that sounds huge. And before we get started, fair use with
I
the
don't think I need
copyright
to do that.
under Section 107 of the Copyright Act.
AI should be
Alrighty then,
transforming.
right when I move the video to a certain point, then a commercial starts. Okay, yeah. Hurry up, commercial.
What am I directly a burrito, sir?
Everything okay?
Well, when you make a video threatening that you want to bring a gun from another state to this state, directly in videos related to me, my wife, my family, that's a threat. Plain and simple.
Wait, if I'm correct, is this Seth or is this CP? I'm pretty sure it's Seth. Yeah, House of Queen, it's very sad. Brown Eyes, this is Seth, right?
She also said
I
she
don't
was
know
going to
where
bring me machete
either.
for the record.
She's sitting there talking about what county she was
I don't know
in.
where I put it.
She was staying at the Holiday Inn, Goodlettsville, which is Davidson County.
And if one of my mods can drop Lolly's link in the chat, that would be very much appreciated. And here CP is calling into a content creator that, in my opinion, no one likes.
Summit County. So I think your fiance had it right, and the bitch didn't even know where she was at.
Oh, it's up there. Take it with you.
Yeah, wasn't she like a lawyer? She said she was a lawyer or some shit at one point.
I think
This
she.
born Betty bitch.
I think she claims to be a paralegal.
Oh, paralegal. That's even worse.
Well, they're definitely not a lawyer.
They don't do the courtroom. They do all the filings and shit, so they should
Thank you.
definitely have a true understanding of what stuff is.
As in, like, what's legal and not legal.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that shit makes no sense. No sense whatsoever.
No, you know what doesn't make any sense? CP is that you and your best buddies over there seems to think you know everything, and which, in my opinion, you and KP and others do know where Sebastian is. So how about you just do us all a favor and get him back home where he belongs, to his real dad.
I mean, another note, does she know that Tennessee state law, if she protests in the street, she can legally be ran over?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No,
Tennessee
Joe.
passed a law back in that COVID shit, or not COVID, like BLM thing or whatever. All these people standing on the interstates blocking the freeway. Tennessee passed a law, you get caught on the road, you legally be ran over.
No shit. I love Tennessee.
Just saying. Know the laws. Careful where you go.
Oh yeah, Dan, I know. He likes to impersonate people a lot. He's you're better off watching paint dry on a wall. At least that would be more fun.
That line of communications opened back up, and I don't know.
We'll see for how long.
Yeah.
We will see. I promise you, if Bobby told Seth anything of what he's told us, Seth opens his fucking mouth. I promise you, it will never open again.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay.
Hey, what have you been?
Oh, hang on. Sorry about that.
This is how come Lolly should not be pressing buttons. Just saying.
James. I hope so, James. We are praying. Oh, let me put my camera back on. Sorry, my granddaughter was in here. She was asking questions. So, is that not threatening?
In my opinion, that is threatening. I would have to agree. Lolly would probably think the same thing. It is threatening.
That, I just can't believe it. Unreal. They're going to get Betty, a person they've never met, never saw. Mr. Bowersox was the only one that has actually met her, talked to her. But yet, Chris feels privileged enough to say those words.
Okay, can someone remind me who the Bowersox is? Does the Proudfoots have any relations? Okay. Just hang on, you guys. I'm gonna let Jacob up on panel. Here you go, Jacob. Yeah, so is the Bowersox like related in any way to the Proudfoots at all? I may be mistaken, but oh my gosh. Jacob, really?
I'm back.
I can see that. If someone could let me... Oh, okay, Dan. Thank you.
I sure hope Betty takes that clip to the appeal. But
thank you, Dan and Brown Eyes.
Yeah, she didn't have a voice analyzer. You don't have to. That's his voice. He's just talking a little deeper. You know, we can all talk a little deeper. Bobby is one of the officers. He is in law enforcement. Bobby and Carter. So, yeah.
Dan,
I agree, y'all. It's
Dan Cheese Wedge is Jacob.
I'm so glad hindsight put that out. And I saw that,
Uh,
like, oh, we're playing this for sure. Because that needs to be heard. That needs to be heard. You can tell it's his voice. He does not do well as far as disguising his voice. He was just making a little deeper sound. That's it. You know, this is,
in my opinion, CP is a man child. Just saying.
the stepfather of a missing child. I don't understand it. Why be so afraid of Betty? Exactly. Yep, James, 100%. And that really isn't even counting the younger days when his mom paid off the right people to get it not put out there, even though it was done to her daughter and her stepdaughter. Make that make sense. I think his mother has been taking care of his dirty work for a very long time. Probably his whole life. That is my opinion. But we're going to be listening next to The Lab. Hey, late girl.
Okay.
Well, you know,
when she starts playing The Lab, either me or one of the mods will drop that link in chat, just for fair use as well.
I'll tell you this, late girl. To protest outside of someone's house, bullhorn or not, that is your legal right. She has maybe ran her mouth a little much, but as far as any physical harm, no. So, you know, she really, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't listen to Betty. I don't care for her approach. But
at the same time, I do agree with Lolly there that, yeah, she doesn't watch Betty. I agree. But at the same time, BHB is has been there for Seth as well. Has been helping tons. Which I think everyone else can agree on in chat.
When it comes to Sebastian's case, and while she was there in Tennessee, she did nothing to step up on the grass where a telephone pole is legally an easement right away.
I do too.
Now, had she stepped further on past that, you know, her words were used against her, late girl. I'll give you that. However, it was a clip here, clip there. Not one person who worked with his father, Terry. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that, James. Wow. Who did it? I'll have to look at that. She did get out of her car in the middle of the road I don't think she should have, but she did. But I probably would have been pissed off too.
Now, I don't know who Lolly is talking about there, about someone getting out of their car and being pissed off at. But whoever she's talking about there, she has a good point, probably.
Ginger. You know, she did get out of her car.
Oh.
And this is the thing. Late girl, if Betty, I looked down, saw Joni's thing, sorry. If Betty is such a badass that she scares Chris Proudfoot, then he's not much of a man. Neither is his stepfather.
Oh, snap. And yeah, I would have to agree with Lolly on that one. CP isn't very much of a man if he's scared of her, if he's scared of Lolly and BHB. Just saying.
As far as the women, I'm sorry. Betty has done nothing physically in person to make them scared. Not that it would be different if she's a 6-foot man. I don't care what size she is. She has never done anything to harm or assist in or make it as if she is there to intentionally harm them. And as far as the gun goes, when she was
okay. As far as the pew pew goes, let's just say that, but let's go on. Wasn't expecting her to say that word.
Talking to that officer, she talks about it. He told her she could purchase a gun. She could carry a gun.
Pew.
He's the one that talked to her about having something for self-defense because she will be going in the woods. She told him she had a machete. It was for cutting down brush and stuff. She didn't carry a machete from Tennessee to go attack Katie and Chris or his mommy and daddy. That wasn't it.
His mommy and daddy.
She has, but not in Sebastian's case. You know, whatever she's done in other cases, those cases. We're sitting here right now talking about Sebastian's case. And she did none of that with Sebastian's case. She did go to Chris's job, but guess what? Late girl, she's not the only one that went.
I could probably agree with that one. There's probably more people that went to CP's job. Just saying.
So how do you differentiate? You can't.
Agreed.
Everyone should have the freedom of speech. Yes. No, it's not a Bash Betty channel. It is not. But Late Girl has a right to her opinions. But like others out there, they're going to use everything from the past. No, she hasn't. So, okay, we're going to move on. I'm not going to sit here and do this all night. Okay, late girl, we have our difference of opinions. I respect yours.
Everyone has different opinions and ideas and stuff. I do have to agree with Lolly there.
You respect mine. If you don't like what we're doing or talking about, I understand if you need to leave.
Then just don't watch.
But you are welcome here. Hey, Brad, hadn't seen you in a good long time. Hope you're well. Did you get moved? No, she didn't make it personal. Sorry, but
Okay. Oh my goodness. Every time when I... Yep. Seth Rogers sounds off after court. Tony Mathis stops by. Okay. I'm gonna drop the lab. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat just for fair use. Oh, thank you. That was fast.
hey.
What's happening? Welcome to the lab. I'm your host. That's better. Joshua Diaz, good to see you. Good to be here. Tonight we're going to talk about the Sebastian Rogers case. There's been some activity during the week, and it's once again more contentious than ever. And I would like to reiterate,
damn, son, where'd you find this?
To the people that are watching this, that are involved in the chat, please be respectful to everybody involved. I know you guys always are. I appreciate it.
And the lab is a very good channel. So for those in the bushes who are watching, and for those that are new to my chat, go over and sub up to the lab. He's an excellent channel.
Let me see here.
Chop, chop.
All right. Good deal. All right. So what's going on? Good to see you. Let's just get right into it. No time to waste. Tony, how are you, Tony? Good. Thank you for being here. And how you doing today? Tony Mathis with us.
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. You guys been busy. I a lot of litigation going on here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And how was that day? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
And just letting you guys be aware, the echoing is not on my end, it's on the lab's end. Through Lolly's stream. So just letting you guys know.
And I know that things didn't turn out the way that you guys had hoped it would, but can you tell me a little bit about what happened?
Well, Josh, frankly, I think the decision was made before we ever got to the courtroom.
It'll change. Hang on just a second.
Going a little bit. All right. Go ahead. Say that again.
Is this better now?
Yeah, it was on my end.
Okay. Yeah, Josh, I think most of the people, I don't know if you heard Mr. and Mrs. E talking about it, but we feel like the decision was made before we ever got into the courtroom.
Why did you feel that way? Did you feel that way, what, days before,
Well,
week before?
No, it was just a reading the room situation. You know, you could look at the body language of the other side and cutting up with the deputies and the sheriffs and the court reporters and everything else. And, you know, it didn't seem to be a serious situation. And, you know, I leaned over and told my wife, I said, you know, I think that we're in trouble here. And she said, yeah, looking around, I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah, that's probably not a very good feeling. I mean, so, you know, I know that there was evidence presented, and I hear that people saying, you know, that Betty, what was presented of Betty was clipped or whatever it is, or that it was taken out of context. Were you guys allowed to present evidence too?
Well, the evidence that we had was exactly what Chris said it was, which is that she had never been around Chris. She had never met Chris. She had reached out. Everybody said that she had been inaccurate about whether she had reached out. She had left him a voicemail way back in May about something that he said in her chat. And he responded to her through Facebook Messenger and gave her a response. There was no fighting. There was nothing like that. You know, they never had any contact after that.
Right.
You know, and the protective order stated that she was stalking them. She was harassing them. And if you look up the definition of stalking, she did not meet that definition. She had never been around anybody other than Terry Bowersox, which, as we've seen in her video, he was actually following her. So, you know, it was, to this day, what I said in the interview with Vinny, which is that they were untruthful about what they said to obtain those protective orders. And, you know, it just continued to move on from there.
Right. And so I understand that a 9-minute video was played in court to sort of, you know, bolster the side of the plaintiffs, and which the plaintiff was Chris Proudfoot, right? With nobody else, because there were already 3 that sort of by default were awarded because the.
And I'm pretty sure I did hear about Seth being off in court because he's sad. He's hurting. He wants his son back. So whoever has him, whoever put him somewhere, just give him to his dad.
Show, and then, you know, Betty claimed that she didn't have enough time, and you know, that's all you know, all that it could be handled during an appeal, this as well. And you guys plan to appeal, correct?
Correct.
Furlani presents.
No one is hungry for food right now, but thanks.
In all honesty, you know, at what point do you go, you know, that she's got to stand down? I mean, is it after the appeal or what? Because I don't have an opinion about it one way or the other. I do think that outsiders do not get a fair shake a lot of the time when they're from out of town, and you know, they're perceived to come in and cause trouble. Judges typically don't like dealing with outsiders, to be honest with you, and that is the truth. At what point do you just go, you know, I'm not going to be a martyr, and I'm not going to go to jail trying to prove a point that simply cannot be proven?
Well, we're too deep into it now to turn back, Josh. I mean, we're in a situation now where it's not about fighting for a channel. It's about fighting for her freedom.
Right. But I mean, the judge, like, I don't know what the judge was saying other than, you know, stop, or, you know, he ruled against her ultimately. I mean, is there a gag on her now?
No, the protective order that's issued is pretty clear, and what she has to be held to is what's inside the 4 corners of that protective order.
Okay.
So everybody says that she can't do this, she can't do that. Well, what she cannot do is she cannot have direct or indirect contact. Indirect contact is defined as having somebody else contact them on her behalf, and she's never done that to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, but after the appeals, after the appeal process, whatever the decision is, because I think what can happen is you can shoot it to the appellate courts. They can hear it, they can overrule it, they can keep it the same. I mean, it does kind of feel like she is running out of rope a little bit here.
Well, I think that she never had any rope in Sumner County. I think I feel that way. Seth feels that way. I think that getting that out of Sumner County and taking it to the appellate court, which is in Davidson County, it's in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we all feel like that it's going to be about the law, and there will be a lot more evidence provided at that appeal that we weren't really able to provide in the PO hearing. The PO hearing is pretty cut and dry. It's what is not the plaintiff, but the petitioner. What is the petitioner claiming and what is the respondent claiming?
Mm-hmm.
And,
was this because CP and KP accused BHB of harassment and stuff? Is that how come the court ordered something or whatever? I could be wrong, but I saw it somewhere.
When we get to the appeals court, it'll be a more drawn out process, and there will be no 9-minute video with a bunch of clips. And, Josh, as nice of a guy as you are and as professional as you are, I don't think any of us would want our life for 7 months and take the little bits and pieces of things we said and put it into a 9-minute video. I think we'd all be in trouble.
Yeah, that's actually happened to me before, and I'm really not that nice of a guy. But I know exactly what you're saying. The problem is, I don't know if it's the problem, but I would say, her words are her words, but you can take things out of context. It's hard to know the meaning, in the heat of the moment. Sometimes people get upset. Sometimes people, say just kind of pop off. I've done that many times. So I get it. But I understand what you're saying. You take 9 minutes and you find the worst stuff that you can find. Yeah, fair enough. And so you plan to appeal, you plan to provide more evidence and things like that, which is, absolutely your guys' her right. Do you feel a sense of responsibility to go along with her through this?
Oh, I think that anybody that's been as committed to Seth Rogers as she's been, that's part of being a team. You stick by your teammates, and she's definitely a part of our team.
All right. Yeah, no, fair enough. So that aside, the ruling goes not in your favor, which is, I figured that it probably wasn't going to anyway. But, and a lot of that, by the way, because I don't really feel like Chris is scared of Betty at all.
At all.
I think that it was nothing more than maybe drum up another charge on her, try to humiliate her a little more, put her through the ringer, kind of pay back for, maybe things that she said about them or the way that she feels about them. And I do think it was a bit of a retaliation tactic. I think 3 of the protective orders is probably plenty. And it's like, it's a lot, right? It felt and it feels like it was a retaliation. Is that what you guys think too?
Well, yeah. And look, you've been covering this case for a long time, and you've seen all the antics that Chris has laid out there.
I was one of the first.
Yeah. This guy has been, I heard the attorney for the Proudfoot say that they just wanted to be private and wanted to be left alone. And then you've got this guy calling in on people's shows, pretending to be Billy Bob Thornton, looking for attention. He was on a platform tonight, a little bitty platform with some people. Mm-hmm. And, he's far from wanting to be left alone. He's not acted that way. The laughing, the joking, you heard me say in the interview, I talked to the court reporter for Court TV, and she came out in the hallway and told us that she was disgusted that Chris looked at her in the middle of the case and winked at her.
Is that not disgusting?
First off, is serious about missing a stepson.
That does sound disgusting in my opinion. Anyone else? What's all your guys' opinions on this?
And second, it's not somebody that wants to be left alone and kept in private.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like I want to be left alone when I want to be left alone, and when I don't, I don't.
Well, I want to be left alone when you say something I don't agree with.
Yeah. That's how I feel too, by the way. But that's not really how life works, is it?
Right.
Once you lose your enamel, you can't really get it back, strong enamel. Nothing beats it. Pronamel Active Shield.
that. So, after that happens, here we go.
EJ?
Or TV
Yeah?
the next day. You sit down with
I
Vinny.
gotta go out for a while. I'll let you
And
go.
It felt
fine.
like there was kind
But
of a shift, from voicing frustrations to direct saying, hey, yeah, I think that they did something. My opinion is, I think, and by the way, what Seth said, and I'm sure people will criticize and some people will cheer. My personal opinion is he had every right, and he has every right to say what he wants, because nobody else is in his position and knows how he feels. And, I've seen Chris kind of go off the deep end. But Seth didn't go off the deep end, but I've seen Chris go off the deep end and people go, well, he's got a lot going on. He's, Seth should be shown that same grace and maybe more, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the funny thing, Josh, is you've known Seth Rogers longer than
CP goes off the deep end every time, more than Seth. Seth has been doing excellent. He's been holding strong.
I've known Seth Rogers.
That's true.
And, you remember the old Seth Rogers that didn't have a muzzle on him. And a lot of people loved to hear the genuineness from him. And a lot of people thought that he was unhinged. Well, when I came in, I put a muzzle on him. I tried to settle things down a little bit with him, get him under control a little bit. But, when you start taking the voice away of people that have been good to him, then what happens is we take the muzzle off of him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And what you saw was the muzzle being taken off.
Well, was that something that was planned, or it just kind of happened?
It was 100% planned,
yeah.
and it will 100% continue.
So this is the route now. You guys aren't being told anything from investigators. Seth isn't being told anything. I don't think that do you have any knowledge if Chris and Katie are in contact with law enforcement?
We don't have any knowledge of that. And quite frankly, there's been so many inconsistencies with things that Chris has said. I don't know that we'd believe him one way or the other. Yeah. I remember when he said that law enforcement told him not to take a polygraph. And I found that, any law enforcement officer that would give legal advice to, I wouldn't say a suspect or person of interest, but somebody that's directly involved, like in the circle of the case, would probably get in a lot of trouble for giving any kind of advice like that. So I don't believe that. I didn't believe that. I think it was kind of a way to skirt around it. I know there are people say, well, he took one. I don't know if he did or not. Well, TBI told our team directly that the same, if you want to call it advice, but the same statement was given to Seth and Chris and Katie, which is you can do what you want to do, but if you're going to take a polygraph, just please be careful that you know the nature of the polygraph and what you're going to be asked.
Yeah, but that's not the same as saying they told him not to.
It's not at all the same, because that same statement was given to Seth before Seth went and took the polygraph with Nancy Grace. And he, you can call it what you want to call it, but he lied to Nancy. He lied to a lot of people when he said we were told not to take the polygraph. It's just simply not true.
Right. Whenever I heard that, I found that utterly kind of ridiculous, but I'm not there and I don't know what's being said.
Oh yeah.
But why is it though, like
big time for sure
with Seth, that how come Seth has never been blamed by Chris and Katie? I think about this sometimes, and they've never said, yes, Seth had something to do with this. They've said things about him that, that they don't care about or that they don't care for or whatever. But they never say, well, we think that Seth is directly involved. And you have people that are paying attention to this that say Seth is involved, or I think Seth is involved, which personally I find that asinine. I do not think that he's involved at all. I don't know about Chris and Katie. I'm more agnostic about that, one way or the other. But why do you think that is? Because I've never heard them publicly blame him.
Well, I think that they know where he was at. I think they know where he was at when it happened. I think when an investigation starts, you've heard people talk about this circle, and this circle that they have includes all of the people that were closest to the victim person. And their goal is to slowly push people out of the circle. Well, you can push Seth out of the circle, whether they want to say it publicly or not, when you verify where he was at through video, through time cards, and then take his cell phones and make sure he wasn't communicating with anybody while he was at work. So whether you want to publicly push him out of the circle or not, I think that Chris and Katie know that.
In my opinion, I don't even think CP was at work. I think it was all a bit. I think that part is a big lie. I don't think CP was at work at all. Because where's the proof? In my opinion, and allegedly.
He's been pushed out of that circle. Now, I think their mission has been to let everybody else know that they feel like they've also been pushed out of that circle. But the truth is, Josh, that there are no rock hard alibis for Chris or Katie. You know, I was at home when it happened and I don't know what happened is not really a rock hard alibi. And there's a lot of unaccounted time for Chris and what he claims to be his alibi. So, you know, like we said on Vinny's show last night, one thing we can all agree on, because it came directly from Sumner County, is that there is no proof that Sebastian ever left that home. So you're a critical thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up, leaving that home? Well, I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, you know, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen. But we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home.
Yes, if you guys can put prayers in the chat for Tony Mathis, that would be very much appreciated. Rest in peace to Tony.
So when they talk about people of interest, if this were a husband and wife and your wife went missing and you were at home with her when she went missing, who would the first person of interest be? Let's take the child out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that the person that was in charge of him, with him last, whether that be a babysitter, a friend, an uncle and aunt, a mom and dad, grandma, grandpa.
Can you imagine what would have happened if he'd have been at home with a babysitter when he went missing?
No, no, it would be.
She or he would be crucified.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Canadian milk, cream, and culture.
Look, Katie does get quite. I mean, Katie does get quite a bit of. I would say not. I guess there's hate, but a lot of suspicion. There's a lot of suspicion that is surrounding her, Chris, but they're not suspects and they're not persons of interest according to law enforcement. I don't know how there is no named suspects. I mean, if this was somebody on the outside that you know just randomly decided one day that they've had contact with Sebastian and they want to come take him away, or he wants to run away by himself, which I feel like he would have been found or seen or whatever. The fact of the matter is that the kid's not going by himself.
Nope.
I just don't believe that.
No, and I will tell you and your audience that there is going to be some more information come out in the next week or two. I can't get any more specific than that, but I think that there's going to be some more information come out that will be very shocking.
Yeah.
And it will be from us. It won't be from law enforcement. And I think that the people that are on the fence about what they think might have happened may end up being pushed to one side or the other. But I can also tell you from being involved in Caleb Harris's case that there are a lot of times that publicly law enforcement will say Jane and John are not suspects. Jane and John are not persons of interest, knowing that if they were to come out and announce that, you'd have a litany of problems.
Yeah, no, I know. And, you know, I've known some info that's probably going to come out at some point. It's not mine to put out, and I would never. But I do think that there has been sort of, look, if it was me, if it was my son, I probably wouldn't be as diplomatic. I mean, I would probably just tell everybody.
I can tell you that I strongly agree with that statement. And a lot of the things I know are the things that you know. We've talked about those things in private. And I can tell you right now that Seth Rogers is a lot more composed as a father, knowing what he knows, what you know, and what I know than what you or I would be.
Right. Yeah. And I like I said, I would be I'd probably stand on a roof and scream, you know, those things. But I saw the shift, you know, last night, and it was very poignant. It was very direct. You guys didn't really mince any words, and you say that's the direction you guys are going from now on. No more, have you guys had any contact with them?
With them, meaning Chris and Katie?
Chris and Katie.
Absolutely not.
All right.
But to answer your question, yes, that will be the new normal.
And do you think that this is going to this will push the case forward? I mean, I know that's the goal.
Well, what we do know is that we've tried to play nice. We've tried to let the creators be our voice. We've tried to play ball with law enforcement. We've brought our own teams in. We've brought national teams in. We've brought our own private teams in. And we know that what we've done to this point has got us to where we're at today. Mm-hmm. So, you know what the definition of insanity is.
Yeah, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Correct. So, we don't feel like that being straight and pointed. No, we are not going to be unhinged to the point that you're going to see Seth or myself using profanity.
And that's the thing. Seth doesn't say any bad things. It's CP and KP that do.
Or anything like that. But we are going to put information out there, and we are going to discuss our views.
By the way, that background music is not mine. That is Lolly's.
Views and our opinions, and we are certainly entitled to do that. And I think that Seth has every right to express his frustration, and I don't believe that we could be any further behind than we are now by him being able to express his frustrations.
Yeah, it does seem like when this case first happened, when this situation first happened, it was one of those, when you're like 10 days in, 12 days in, you think something's going to break, something's going to happen. And it's gone on for.
Yeah, that's on Lolly's end. My gosh.
So long that I just don't think, I thought personally when it happened that there was going to be some sort of cohesive unit, the way that Chris kind of explained it in his first interview. He said, that we have a great, we have a great relationship with Seth. And which may have been true at the time. I don't know. I mean, but it seemed as though if at first, maybe the first couple of days, people were sort of getting along because nobody knew really what was going on. And then as time goes on, people start to feel the way that they feel. And unfortunately, sides do become formed. It's petty, but I mean, it's how it's always been. People don't understand, like, even without social media, you have cases like Scott Peterson, right? Social media wasn't really a thing then, but the news and the tabloids, I mean, not saying that it was split, but there were definitely sides. There are definitely sides on everything, for some reason.
Well, and if you think about, that relationship that Chris painted to be a good relationship, Chris and Seth had a good working relationship because they had the same goal, and the goal was for Sebastian not to be in that house. Chris did not want Sebastian in that house, and Seth did not want Sebastian in that house. So, I can tell you that it was not Katie, in my opinion, that wanted Sebastian out of that house. It was Chris. And we have multiple people that have told us that Chris gave Katie an ultimatum that it's either him or me. We also know that he made that statement to one of his coworkers. So, if I'm Seth and I'm realizing that, hey, the stepdad wants me to have my son just like I want me to have my son.
That background music,
then of course, we're going to work good together because we've got the same goal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and because she never would deal with Seth, right? I mean, it had been Chris and Seth, from what I understand, and that maybe they would talk a couple times a week at the most, but it was always about Sebastian. It wasn't like they had this friendship or anything.
Yeah, they weren't going fishing together.
No, I don't think so. And I mean, is there any chance? Because I know that Chris had said that he wanted to work together with Seth, and I know that was some time ago. That plan's gone, right?
That plan's been gone for a long time, and saying something and doing something are two different things. And I can tell you firsthand when I came on that they had every opportunity to work together and have one voice. and they drug their feet and drug their feet and drug their feet. And then Chris sent an email that it wasn't going to happen. That was his choice. That was not Seth's choice.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. But yeah. So tell me a little bit about your guys' interview last night or the night before. How did you guys feel afterwards? Did you feel kind of liberated? What did you feel? Did you feel like, you know?
Skyscanner searches billions of...
No, I do not, Dan. No, I do not.
Turned a corner? Like we've turned a corner here.
Well, I don't think that Seth is ever going to feel liberated until he gets Sebastian back. But I do think that when things bottle up for a long time, anytime you can let those things out, you're going to feel a little better for a brief period. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know that I felt good or bad or any different than normal after giving any other interview. I just felt like there's some things that needed to be said. And I think that people need to understand that that court case was not the way it was represented to be by the mainstream media. I mean, I sat in the courtroom, I listened to all of it, I was involved in the case, the planning of that case, and every ounce of it. And there's a lot more to that than what a lot of people know, and I just don't feel like that. I think there was so much pressure on Sumner County to make an example out of somebody that they chose Betty to do that. We don't have to agree with, you know, her presentation. We don't have to agree with any of that. But one thing I can tell you about Betty is that she follows the law. And she's been very clear that she's anti-violence. And, you know, there's some things that just needed to be said in that interview. And then, of course, you know, when you've got a mother and a stepfather that are spending more time trying to silence people than they are looking for the child, you know, it's going to irritate the people that their focus is finding the child.
Right. I mean, I can understand that. Now, you know, and the law can be debated and the Constitution can be debated. It's debated all the time. That's why they have constitutional lawyers that fight these kinds of things. And unfortunately, you know, when it comes to judges, they have immense power. Absolutely.
In my opinion, I don't think judges will ever be on CP's and KP's side ever. I'm so confused, CJ. What are you talking about?
Absolutely very broad. You know what I mean? And
there is no
their interpretation of the law may be different than mine or yours, but the fact of the matter is they are the law, and they do interpret the law and they do enforce it. So, you know, I just think, you know, catching a couple years in jail for a non-winning battle is really risky. You know, that's just. But appealing isn't that. You can appeal. There's no harm in that. I mean, you have every right to. You know. So
well, the moment that those protective orders are issued, in our opinion, under complete false pretense, and then there's violations of those protective orders that are granted based off of her threatening to sue somebody and a hashtag, which is exactly what the paperwork said. Which you and I both know that hashtags and threatening to sue somebody is not direct or indirect contact. But you know, she's already in a situation with those 6 violations where we're talking about her freedom. So when you file an appeal, what happens is there's a stay issued on those 6 violations, and it gives a higher court a chance to look at more of the facts.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not pushing things any further. We're simply making sure that we exhaust every opportunity before we put ourselves in front of that.
This isn't drama. This is what This isn't drama, CJ. It's about a missing child.
Judge to make a ruling on whether she violated those or not, because you hit it right on the head. There's the law, and then there's interpretation of the law.
Sure.
And if the interpretation is left in the hands of that judge, nobody feels good about that.
And that's why they have appellate courts. I mean, that's a pretty standard thing, right? I mean,
The problem with that judge is he's a career prosecutor, a DA, and we had multiple other attorneys in the community tell us that he wasn't completely familiar with civil law and civil procedure. And, you know, Betty made a very valid point. Our attorney made a very valid point that she was not even properly served. And
You're welcome.
that's not something that is really up for dissection. I mean, it is what it is. And there is a process for serving a Florida resident from Tennessee, and that process was not followed. So, you know, before you can even get into protective orders, you have to have proper service. There has to be an A before there's a B. But the judge essentially just looked over that. And, you know, an appellate judge will not look over that.
No, they won't. Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like I mean, you know about litigation, it sounds like, and
I do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, business people go through it all the time. It's not anything new, but so you're going to appeal and all that, and you know, that's your team. She's part of your team, and I completely understand having her back, but.
And I'd do the same thing for you. You know that.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm not much of a confrontational person. So, but I know what you're saying. I get it, and I respect it as well. I mean, you know, that's your guys', you know, it's your circle. I get it. I would probably do the same thing for.
Okay, just a minute, you guys. I have to add. I'm adding Jacob up. There you go, Jacob. Good, now we're back. Now that you're back quickly, I do have to use the washroom. Talk with everyone. Turn your camera on and talk with everyone. I will be right
Okay.
back.
Hello, everyone. The mighty cheese wedge is back.
Here we go.
People, but I do worry that, you know, things like this get out of hand, and they already really are out of hand, to be honest with you.
No, the moment that they determined in their mind that she had breached or violated those POs, at that moment they got out of hand.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was quite a harsh order.
Well, because at that moment you cross over. A lot of people don't know that protective orders are civil, and
right. That's why the one next month is a criminal case.
Yeah, when you violate the POs, or they determine that you violated the POs, at that point things become criminal. So that's at that moment they've got out of hand.
Right. And Seth is joining us. Seth, we're kind of wrapping up the court stuff, and we're talking about you know, the shift in you know, what you said on Court TV. Now that you've had a day or two, how do you feel?
Imagine being able to build anything.
I still feel the same way. Hi, Josh. Hi, Mathis.
Hey, how are you, Mr. Rogers?
Boiling. Waiting for the weekend to be over so I can do something.
What are you planning on doing? Do you have a plan? Or is it something you care to share? If not, I understand that as well.
Not sharing because, in your chat, there's a lot of people that can still hear me, may not be able to see me, and I don't have to look at them. But I know that CP supporters are everywhere. I hope they enjoy supporting a child abuser because those are the people that nearly make me sick in this world.
And do you want to expand on that or just leave it there?
Leave it there.
Yeah, and I have asked the chat, and normally, this is a very charged, I haven't covered a lot of this lately. And
I understand that, Josh, because it's very controversial. No matter what it seems, it's like no matter what I said to people at the very beginning and have continued to say, there's no sides but Sebastian. But everybody wants to make it about sides. And all I want from my side is to find Sebastian and bring him home. That's it. I want to find my son and bring him home and make sure he is safe and healthy.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think that the sides is probably the most detrimental. And I will tell you this too. I have a major problem, not just with people that attack you and accuse you, but I do have a major problem just in general with people talking about how bad of parents people are when they've only known what they've seen, through the media, and a lot of these people are absolute losers themselves that attack from behind a keyboard that probably wouldn't want their life put on display in front of everybody. That's kind of how I figure it, the whole situation. I see it a lot.
That term keyboard warriors, Josh?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that term needs to stop being used because if you're on a keyboard running your mouth, doing your little finger twitches, you're just a keyboard coward. There ain't nothing warrior about you. The muzzle's off, as Tony has said.
So Seth, when you said you support a child abuser, people are going to say you don't have any proof. Are you going?
That would be very, very, very inaccurate. Like I said, we have to be very, very careful, and we have to make sure our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. But to make that statement that we don't have proof of anything, not specifically that, but anything that we come out publicly and say would be inaccurate.
Right. So there is proof, and you're just finalizing how you're going to present it. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what we're saying. We want to make sure that we're acting within the confinements of the law.
I did that interview and I said that they're hiding from the real law. I meant it. They're hiding from the real law because to me, Sumner County is doing anything and everything they can to cover themselves and to protect them. And they're abusing the law. The law is not to be abused. The law is there to protect the citizens against those who are willing to break it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that, but once again, when we're talking about Sumner County, and I don't really know how these investigations go or play out, but they haven't said anything. I don't know when the last time they said something about this case was. Was it April?
April. It's been over 3 months since a particular person has said anything about their son.
Well, give me 1 second here. Mods, I'm seeing a ton of just weirdos in the chat. If we need to turn on members only, then we can. But please just toss them. They're so rude, and I would never go into somebody's chat and act like that. Just get them out of here, please. Or we can turn on members only, or turn the chat off completely. This is why I don't like doing these. I like talking to you guys about it. It's just that people are absolutely nuts.
And again, for those that are in the bushes, who are watching from the bushes, please click the thumbs up if you can, and share my channel out, and also to get my channel out into the algorithm. And everyone, thank you for being here so far.
Just so rude. It's crazy. No skin in the game whatsoever.
Well, there's no manners anymore either.
What's that?
There's very little manners left.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens when. This is what happens when you can hide behind a keyboard.
Right. That's why they're keyboard cowards.
Right. Let me see here.
Josh, you can always look at these cases and tell the people that are actively involved, they don't hide from anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I do feel like the things that you guys have done is to push forward the case. I don't, and Tony, I've said this before. I haven't agreed with everything, but who cares? Like that doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, that guy's an idiot, or I just maybe have not agreed with the way that some things have shaken out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And you've always been respectful about that. We've had many conversations about different things that were being done.
Yeah.
But one of the things you always acknowledge is that you don't have all the facts. You don't know exactly why things are being done. You see that they are being done. And I've always taken the time to talk through those things with you and explain to you why we're doing what we're doing. But at the end of the day, the guy that is steering that ship, in contrast to what a lot of people think, is Seth Rogers. And there is not one move made that Seth doesn't agree with. There is not one move made that we don't talk in great detail about. And quite frankly, a lot of these people that are giving opinions and causing problems and everything else, they don't have a child missing. And we appreciate anybody that supports Sebastian. We appreciate anybody that supports Seth and finding Sebastian. If you have your own opinion and you don't support Seth and you don't support finding Sebastian, and you're not willing to look at all the facts in the case, then we're not really interested in what you've got to say.
Yeah, if there's people that aren't being supportive, then leave. People who aren't being supportive, you don't have to watch, you don't have to help. Like, that's it, that's all. Those that are supportive have been doing excellent, especially the subscribers of everyone's channel.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There are things about this case that I don't know. I don't pretend to know. I don't listen to. I don't really listen to the whatever gossip there is. I mean, there's so much that has been said, and like I said, this is probably the first show, the first time I've done a live about Sebastian's case in probably a month, and every time I do it, I'm reminded why. But at the same time, I also feel like that there needs to be some sort of balance. Like I personally feel that that there's not enough balance. That people are so one-sided, leaning one way or the other. And when the simple fact is that Sebastian is.
I don't want that life, I need it. I'm addicted to it, baby, yeah.
What or who said what or
Sebastian is the goal. Sebastian has been my goal since the very beginning when this happened. Finding my son is all that matters to me.
And you could do everything perfect, Seth. I'm telling you, you could do everything perfect. You could say everything right, and no matter what, you can go to any single post, like a popular post, like say, Sports Center, MLB does one. They say something nice about somebody, and within the first 2 or 3 comments, you're going to see some jerk off say, "Just be rude." I mean, it's just how the internet works now, unfortunately. And look, I've taken the brunt of a lot of stuff before, and I know that, Seth, it's a constant for you, but you seem to be pretty good at ignoring it.
Well, a lot of the stuff, Josh, it just doesn't help bring Sebastian home. And one of the things that Seth has been very consistent about is if it doesn't involve bringing his son home, he's not really interested in it. And I've watched you over the last few months. I'll ask you a question if you don't mind. You've broken down a lot of those early interviews. You broke down a lot of the early interviews that Chris and Katie have done. and you've pointed out some of the inconsistencies in those interviews. Multiple things that were said differently. The very next interview, they were answered differently. Very, very important details that were answered differently. You've been working with Seth now longer than I have. Have you ever found an inconsistency in anything that Seth Rogers has ever said?
No, not off the top of my head. I mean, nothing that ever stuck out to me. No, I don't think so.
So, you know, when people are aligning themselves instead of focusing on the child, you've got one side that has got many, many, many inconsistencies. And as we said on Vinny's show, if you're telling the truth, you're not going to have inconsistencies because the truth is easy to remember.
Yeah, you're right about that. Somebody said something about the internet access. I don't remember. I don't remember if that was an inconsistency or not. I know Chris and Katie said that he did not have access to the internet at their house, but that he did with you, Seth?
He could get on my PlayStation and play under my account at any point in time. I didn't limit him. I mean, we're talking about a child that
15-year-old child
that I had asked many times, would you like to have your own account? And he says, no, Dad, I'd rather just play under yours. You know, when you give the child the opportunity to grow and you give the child the opportunity to make his own decisions, it's going to allow him to grow and blossom, bloom, and to grow up. But literally, it's like, you know, he had his own, on Netflix, he has his own profile, which is, you know, he should. He's 15. When I first got Netflix, he was like 6 to 8, children's profile, period. So you can watch children-based stuff, so you're not watching, you know, blood, guts, gore, horror movies, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. It's the same thing with the internet. I had conversations with my son. I told him, listen, you don't know these people on the internet, all right? The only people you should be communicating with are people that are on my friends list because I know them personally. I've met them, I've shaken their hand, I've known them for 10 plus years. So what's the point of, you know, and he's like, that's fine. He'd rather play with these people because they play the game and he's there to play the game. I'm like, Chad, I mean.
Well, and the other thing too, Josh, is we're talking, everybody wants to label Sebastian as an autistic child, but they forget that he was a highly functioning autistic child. And in a lot of situations, you wouldn't know that he was autistic unless he had been labeled as such. So if you consider him a fairly normal 15-year-old child, I would ask anybody that's ever had a child of that age, and I ironically have a 15-year-old of my own, I don't know any 15-year-old child anywhere that doesn't have access to the internet. I've never even heard of that at that age.
I haven't either. I don't know what the point would be.
I mean, most of these kids have $1,500 iPhones at 15 years old, and they've got access to the internet through their phone. They've got access to, to multiple different TV platforms. They've got access to video games, and parents do monitor those things. But I don't know any parent that would not give a 15-year-old child any access to the internet. I mean, that's where a lot of these kids learn and grow and research. And, it's a part of their school and things like that. So to me, it's more odd that he wouldn't have access than that he would.
Well, I mean, he'd have access to the internet at school.
Right. I mean, with a lot of filters.
Oh, okay.
The person got upset because he had access at school to get his FFA certificate that was given to me by the school. He had to have internet access to take all the tests and stuff for it. And somebody got mad because he had it. But yet, that person also wouldn't show up at the school and be given it the reward or the award.
What was the reason that he was upset about it?
Because they didn't allow him to have internet access at home, and they were upset that the school gave him internet access to take the tests and finish out the course.
Which CP and KP are freaking strict. They wouldn't allow Sebastian to have any access to any sort of electronics, barely any access to the internet. Like, what's wrong with someone with disabilities having access to that kind of stuff? As long as it's monitored, it's okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, the internet is accessible, all over the place. I really don't know. I don't know that many 15-year-olds anymore. I used to when my kids were that age. The internet was what kids thrived on. They still do. You know what I mean?
15-year-old I know is my son.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody's online. Everybody plays. And I think the thing that people get mistaken is being on the internet playing video games is like different than going to chat rooms. I mean, it's different. It's not the same. Like, it's not like, you can exchange messages with people and stuff like that, but it's pretty like out in the open, if you're in a server or whatever, but it would all come back to your account, right? That's what you said?
Correct. And they took my stuff and they went through it and they gave me all of my stuff back. They just never gave me Sebastian's stuff back.
Yeah, so when they returned it, what did they say to you?
Here's your stuff back.
That's it. They didn't say,
No, they took all my electronics, and then what they do is they download everything from the hard drive.
Right.
Okay, so I have to give them all my passwords for all of my accounts so that they can access it. So I gave them all the passwords for all of my accounts. They had all of my stuff for 2 weeks, and then, they took Sebastian. His grandma bought him like a tablet, like pad thing, and
Bureau Brewing is a non-alcoholic premium beer company.
you know how electronics are if they run out of juice for a long period of time, and then you plug them in and it takes, a couple minutes for it to get enough juice to show you that it's charging? Yeah, well, they took one of his electronics and they plugged it in, and it took 15 minutes for the computer to actually recognize that it was being charged. They turned it on, and the detective looked at it, was like, well, this hasn't been used since 2021. I'm like, yeah, he used it when his grandma gave it to him in Texas for Christmas. We got home, and he set it over there next to the charger and hasn't turned it back on, and it died. They still have that. Something that hasn't been used in 3 years is evidence that he might have been online. And when you look at it, he's got his Google account. Well, his Google account is underneath my Google account. So anything that he does on his Google account, I get an email about it.
Yeah.
Get an email every.
Which that's what a good father does. Seth is a very good father, in my opinion, and allegedly. He would make sure his son is safe.
Every week that says where he's been, what he's been looking up, everything, because it's literally a parental account.
Did he know that you could see it?
Huh?
Did he know that you could see his activity?
No.
Because I remember I used to do that with my kids, and I would tell them, I can see everything that you're doing. I just want you to just know that. I could, and it wasn't, to me, it's not spying or anything. It's just, I just wanted them to know that, I monitor what goes on. And that's what, some parents tell their kids and some don't. I mean, there's no right or wrong.
But to have the freedom. And if I had gotten a report and looked at it and thought, well, this is kind of, a little bit iffy, then I'd ask him about it. But most of the time, he was on YouTube watching videos. He was on YouTube watching videos. And the worst part about it, in my opinion, is he would watch videos on how to deal with being bullied. To me, that means he's using the internet to teach himself on how to deal with problems in his life.
As a resource.
Which is what it's supposed to be. People ask questions, you got, a $1,500 phone in your hand, and you can't have enough common sense to sit there and Google search it. But I would take that information, and then when I had conversations with my son, I would incorporate that into my conversations. Because I want to be there for him. I want to be able to teach him what I know. So that way he doesn't have to go to the internet. He's got it, Dad.
Yeah, look, the internet is part of life. It really is. It's a huge part of life now. I mean, none of us would be talking right now if it wasn't for the internet. It comes with a lot of good. It comes with a lot of bad. But I mean, it is a resource that almost every job uses. I mean, Tony, I'm sure you use the internet for your job, and Seth, well, everybody does. Yeah, so it's weird. It is strange to cut off that kind of access from.
I mean, if you look at it, the fact is that there were people in that neighborhood that knew he existed because the bus stopped and he would get on and get off, but they didn't see him. They didn't see him playing with other kids in the neighborhood. And if you didn't have internet access or any type of access in the house, then I'm sorry. I know people in jail that have internet access more than my son did.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do have internet in jail as well. People have tablets in jail. That's the thing.
In my opinion, they shouldn't allow internet in jails. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Prison too.
I have to make sure that they all, hey, come charge your tablets because I'm closing down the charge box,
Oh, so they don't have to turn those in. It's just they can't charge them till the morning or something.
Well, when you go into lockdown, you can either have it on the charge so that it's available when we serve for breakfast, or when it dies, it dies.
That's interesting. Charlie Bishop says here, Court TV removed yesterday's interview. Is that true?
I don't know. I talked to Justin a little earlier tonight, and he said that it was up. He said that it was part of the entire show, so it may not be under Sebastian's name.
It might not also be on YouTube. So, I mean, they do have stuff that is exclusively on their website as well.
Yeah, and Southwest 4x4, we agree with that. It's just the optics in this case don't change. And if we believe that Chris and Katie were told not to go out and search for their son, which is what they alleged early on, I would simply ask you the question, Josh, if one of your children were missing, would somebody be able to convince you not to go look?
No.
I mean,
and I'm not being dramatic when I say that, but God himself would convince me. Really?
Yeah, I mean, and there's just too many things. I mean, generally, if you know that you left your iPhone on the table, you're not going to go looking for it because
You guys, I'll be right back. Keep on watching, Jacob.
Yes.
I do think you have access to pause just in case if you have anything to say to anyone. But yeah, I think you have access. No, wait, do you?
Where it is, and that's generally when people don't look, is when they know where something is. So the optics in this case are what they are. We didn't create.
I don't think you did.
We didn't create Seth's optics. He created them.
I'll be right back.
Good, bad, or indifferent, Seth's body of work, since his son went missing, is his body of work. And Chris and Katie's body of work is their body of work. And, we didn't ask them not to go looking. We didn't ask them to not take a polygraph. Those are decisions they've made, and they have to live with those choices, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah, and I'm going to address this comment really quick here. Keisha says, I don't understand why you worry about CP KB instead of searching for Sebastian. Well, the problem is that Sebastian went missing on their watch. I mean, what do you mean worry about them? And they're at the center of this. If he was with Seth when he went missing, Seth would be under even much more scrutiny than he is now.
Imagine
far away at work.
Yeah, Josh, and no disrespect to Keisha, none at all. But
no one cares about paint. I mean, it would be much more fun watching paint dry on a wall than listen about CP's stupidity. Just saying.
Well, Keisha, if you have a child and that child goes missing on your watch, everybody's going to be worried about you.
Of course. I don't understand that. I get what you're trying to do. I get where you're trying to go, but I mean, you're short a couple bricks to get to the platform because it just doesn't make sense. Of course, they're going to worry about Chris and Katie because I think that, I mean, I would be hard pressed to find people that would say that they don't know more than what they claim to. And one thing I have heard is that Chris says, you know, in time, I can't remember where I heard him say this, but he said something about in time, you know, more questions will be answered. Have you guys heard him say that before?
Yeah, we've heard him say that. We've heard him say that Sebastian will never be found. We've heard him say that this will be a case that will be studied for years to come. You know, those aren't things that a normal grieving parent would say.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I think that if there is, when he said that, and I cannot remember when he said that, but it wasn't that long ago. I don't understand if there's other things that can be said.
Why is it
now's the time?
Yeah. What are we waiting on?
I mean, what, 7, almost 8 months?
Yeah, and
So
I mean,
I don't understand that.
You know, Josh, I've spent probably 3 or 4 different full weeks in the Hendersonville area since the last 5.5 months, I guess. And the overwhelming majority of the community feels the same way we do. Their opinion is exactly what our opinion is, which is that Chris and Katie know what happened to Sebastian. And you can talk to 100 people in that community. You can even talk to law enforcement officers who don't know you're involved in the case, and they'll tell you that the overwhelming majority of the community feels that they have something to do with this. So we're not in the minority,
knowledge, right? I mean, or knowledge.
Or knowledge, yes.
Right.
And something to do with it would be having knowledge and not sharing it.
Of course. I mean, if you have any, look, they don't have to tell the public. And if there are things that are nefarious that they have talked to law enforcement about, then fine, you know, but they don't have to tell the public that. It's not illegal to lie to the public. However, it is illegal to lie to law enforcement. And that's just where it is. And I hope, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like, because none of us know what went on, you know, in the interview rooms, but it sounds like they just flat out say they don't know anything.
Yeah, and you know, it just contradicts. They back law enforcement, and they're putting all their trust, hope, and faith in law enforcement. But it's law enforcement that's telling us that there's no proof that child ever left the home.
So that was told to you. That was told to you guys directly. Is that right, Seth?
That was actually stated in the last time Craddock did a public announcement or whatever they call it.
Who said it?
Craddock.
It was a press conference.
There.
Okay. And so they just said that they have no evidence that he ever left the house.
Correct.
What is that about? Why is there no evidence? Did they try to hide evidence? Did they try to make it so there is none? I don't know.
What do you take from that? I mean, I know what I take from it, but what do you take from it?
Well, you heard what I take from it when I decided to tell Vinny yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're breaking the case down, you know, there's very few ways again that he could not be still in that home and there be no evidence, meaning no Ring doorbell cameras, no dog scent, and the only thing that I can come up with is that he left in a vehicle. He gets out in the garage in a vehicle and leaves that way.
There's something strange to that middle of the night video. You know, those lights. I think that is kind of is looming over this case. I certainly don't believe that it's trash truck. I don't think trash trucks collect that early. Maybe somewhere in the boonies, but from everything that the neighbors said, that those aren't trash trucks. Lights. People believe that they're flashlights, and that there was possibly a car parked, you know, around. I mean, if you think about it from a Occam's razor standpoint, in a quiet neighborhood like that, I mean, what are the chances that they're flashlights, a strange car that people don't recognize, and at the same time, a 15-year-old boy goes missing? That doesn't.
No, I don't think he left either. I think he got carried out. In my opinion, and allegedly.
Is that happenstance? I mean, that can't be, can it? I mean, I guess it could, but
I just don't believe in coincidences of that magnitude.
do you guys believe that there's something to that, though? That video?
We don't believe it's a trash truck.
Seth and Tony say, stay strong, praying for Sebastian to come home with you soon. I'm saying the key is the flashlight video. If CP was so upset that video was out, then it has something there he didn't want out. I mean, that's a good take. Here's no evidence he ever left the home. Sumner police. Kids have to learn at some age. I agree with that as well. Michael Harrison says, question, Tony, is there a threat of litigation from certain parties and effort?
In my opinion, I think he is, but I don't know for sure. I could be wrong, though. I don't want to think the worst.
To shut you and Seth down and in turn take media focus away from Sebastian. Have you guys been threatened with any lawsuits since then?
No, and I don't know of any missing persons case in America where a father and a spokesperson would be told that they can't talk about the child.
Oh, no question about it. That's what I'm saying. That and I told Seth this. He's allowed to feel that way. He's allowed to speak it out loud. They would be able to do the same thing if they had any suspicions of Seth, which once again, I've heard none from them, which just tells me one thing, that they know he's not involved.
Yeah, and if they know he's not involved, the only way they can definitively know that he was not involved is if they knew who was involved.
Well, I mean, I would think so. Look, to be honest with you, if I was Chris or Katie and Sebastian went missing and I didn't have anything to do with it and he went missing in my house, I would be accusing the shit out of you, Seth.
I would be too.
Just flat out. I mean,
if they didn't know what happened.
This
Very true, Dan.
And you're convinced that he just disappeared. But
well, Josh, think about it like this. All right. It was the first time I've actually come out and stated that was on Vinny's. But methodically speaking, I've gone through every piece of evidence that I can come across. I've gone through a lot of scenarios in my head to figure out. I've brainstormed with a lot of individuals on scenarios, and it's just, it comes down to the fact that he went missing out under her watch. Law enforcement has no evidence he ever left that residence. Where's my son?
I mean, that's the question.
You can look at, Josh, look at the last few missing persons cases that you're familiar with, and you can look at the reaction from parents that were not involved, and it does not look like what we're seeing with the other side.
Yeah, and I agree with.
Yeah, literally same, especially with CP's own words. When Sebastian comes back home at 18, he's going to need a lot of mental health help. Yeah, kind of sus there. Yeah, shouldn't have said it.
That I know that there's this kind of people would make excuses for parents. They said, well, there's not there's no playbook, there's no handbook, there's no this or that. Well, there kind of is, if you want to. It kind of is, man, because I've seen parents of missing children, and I'm not saying that this makes anybody guilty or not, but I can tell you this: law enforcement sure looks at it. They sure look at the reaction of what people are doing. They look around and they kind of gather, or they're supposed to. I know that good detectives do that. Kind of gather the feel, the reaction. They talk about it all the time.
Yeah. Well, you look at Sebastian, who was 15, and how old was Riley Strang? Was he 20? 21?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I mean, you remember the reaction we saw from his mother, who clearly had nothing to do with him missing?
Correct, yeah.
I mean, right there in Nashville, I mean, it's just, and I agree with your comment, there is kind of a playbook for a grief.
Dan, I could try sending it to him if he has an email.
For a parent that's freaked out, that doesn't know where their child is, and that's not what we've seen here.
I don't feel like there was a sense of urgency with them. That's just my personal observation, and but I'm not a body language expert or whatever. I felt like 8 days or 9 days is a long time to wait to speak publicly about a child, about your child that goes missing, just vanishing.
Well, and here's another thing that's a little odd to me, is that Chris couldn't wait to grab the reporter and get out and talk to them about Betty's case, but they sure haven't had that same sense of urgency talking about Sebastian.
Yeah, that's true too. That is true too. So, look, I've had you guys here for a little over an hour.
Yeah, we're gonna call it a night, Josh.
I appreciate it. I know you guys are tired, and I'm glad that we caught up. I'm glad that we were able to talk about some stuff respectfully, and I do apologize for people that, By the way, I don't let people trash Chris and Katie in the chat either. I just don't. They can feel however they want. They can not like them. They can like them. I don't care. And to be honest, and quite frankly, I don't care who likes you or Seth either. It doesn't matter to me. Right.
It doesn't bother me.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care.
So why would I let their opinions bother me? The only thing I care about is fighting my son. And
yeah, I agree with Seth. If he's not going to let anyone's opinions bother him, that's smart. He's one smart man, in my opinion, and allegedly.
If they don't like that, then they got problems.
Well, I'm sure that this will be nitpicked and reviewed and whatever. Who cares? I know.
Get to see your face.
I know I'm the only one. That's fine. And I've offered Chris to come on and talk as well. He goes on other shows and talks, but I've had conversations with him. Not many, just a couple. But he's always welcome to come on and straighten out anything that I was wrong about, anything that he feels you guys have been wrong about. I think that's only fair, but I don't see that happening. But him and Katie are both.
Well, it's probably because you're a man. And, he obviously gets intimidated by real men.
Well, nothing to be intimidated about. I've shown the same grace. We haven't always had the most friendly of interactions, but I don't hold that against anybody. I piss a lot of people off. So
can I say that's just my opinion?
you can say whatever you want. I don't care.
Well, Josh, again, we greatly appreciate you having us on. We're going to call it a night, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, we'll talk soon. All right, okay. Seth. All right, Tony. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Exactly. I agree. Well, we don't have to listen to the full thing, but we're gonna stop there. So what did you guys think of my live for today? Like, any thoughts on it? Any thoughts on my live, on my stream today? Any opinions you guys have? If not, anyone who's been listening from the bushes and everyone who's been in chat, thank you for coming out to my stream. I very much appreciate it. And if you can, on your way out, click that thumbs up, like and subscribe if you haven't. And also share my channel out into the algorithm if you can. Thank you, Brown Eyes. And until next time, folks, peace.
Thank you for your live, DJ. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.